Yo, what is good, people? I go by the name of Killer Beezy and welcome back to the channel, man. If you guys are not part of the Discord, make sure you join the Discord. The link to that is in the description below. And if you are not following me on Twitch, make sure you follow me on Twitch. The link to that should be above my head, but it isn't, okay? But it is now, okay? So there we go. Right, so what I wanted to touch base on, for those of you that haven't seen it on the channel already, we managed to do the Grandmaster's Gauntlet. I think it was yesterday we did it, okay? So if you haven't seen that and you want to see any particular fights, go ahead and watch the live stream. And if you guys want to see my rewards, I have also posted that separately up on the channel, okay? So you guys can see what rewards I got as well from the Grandmaster Gauntlet, okay? Now, one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to go over like my experience and just show you like my encounters like throughout the Grandmaster Gauntlet, okay? All in all, I spent about 3,700 units ish, so between 3,500 and 4,000 units. All right, and I had about 10 to 15 revives, and I did have a few. I had a few potions, but the potions that I had, man, they were they were probably like, I don't know, they were probably enough to like fully heal me for maybe about a maximum of 10 fights. So it wasn't really much. I wish I farmed more, okay? But we'll talk about that later on, okay? So what I want to talk about is I'm going to talk about the encounters and what are like straightforward fights and like what are a bit more tricky fights that I found anyway. Who I used for what, and whether I regret using that person and would have used someone else. And yeah, just giving the odd sort of bit of advice of like, you know, which fights you need to kind of fully heal up on, which fights you don't, okay? So one of the things that I would heavily advise, okay, this is something I did, okay? One of the things I would heavily advise you to do is take advice. Don't go in there blind, okay? There are so much people within the community that have gone in and done this already. You know, they've done the hard work. They've gone in there for a first attempt, cleared it, and powered their way through or whatnot. And it's those people that you can rely on to give you really valuable intel for like when you want to go in there and do your run, okay? Now, you only have about, I think it's just over 8 days to do it, okay? So if you guys are still planning to do this, this is kind of the reason why I'm making this video, okay? So that's my number one advice. Big up, massive shout out to TJ and my boy Jacob, because those two were two people that I sat down with, and this could be anybody. If you guys know people within the community, you can obviously have conversations with your friends. If you've got alliance mates that have done it and like you want to, you know, I heavily advise you to have a conversation with someone that you can go back and forth with, okay? Because it's all fair and well you watching like videos like this and whatnot, but it's so much better when you speak to people, because sometimes I find like when you read notes on paper, it doesn't justify how difficult the fight is because of some of the things that you have to keep an eye out on. I'm a massive example of this, of someone that struggles like in something like, I'll give you an example, in the Korg fight, okay? In the Korg fight, when I use Proxima, that Korg fight, keeping an eye out for what my missions were, keeping an eye out for doing the missions, and then keeping an eye out for his rocks timer as well, to try and get everything in line, man. Like when I have to keep an eye out on so many things within a fight, I struggle. Do you know what I mean? That type of experience you're not gonna get from just watching a video like this and being like, oh yeah, this node was not too bad. But you know, so that's what I'm saying. If you speak to people that have done it, you know, they will be able to talk you through their experience, and it just mentally prepares you a bit more, you know. But anyway, so this is the team that I used. So I brought Magic in for Terex. Now, I didn't have Namor originally, but ironically I did pull Namor the day before I was planning to do my run, but I didn't have the resources to rank him up, so that's why I didn't bring him, okay? So I brought Magic for Terex, I brought Proxima for Korg, I brought Aegon for everything else, and I brought AA and Magneto for also, like, you know, when there was fights where I couldn't use Aegon, or there were some fights that like Magneto was a lot better suited for, or AA, okay? So so this was like my team, okay? Now, I'm not saying this is the best team to use, because the best team to use is kind of going to be based on your skill level with certain characters and your roster availability, okay? So first things first, man. So looking at here, so when I originally started my run, I used Doom to build Aegon. Now during the live stream, a lot of people were saying to me, oh, but dude, there's other places that you can build Aegon, and I'm so glad I listened, okay? So if I was doing this again, what I would probably do is try and build Aegon up to like maybe say 100. I'll build him up to like maybe 100 combo, and then finish off Doom with Magneto. The fight isn't that bad, but that's what I would do, just to save myself some revives at that point, okay? Because even if you have a really great run, you're gonna be kind of doing maybe about, I think you could maybe do about 4 or 5 runs with Aegon, okay? If you have 4 or 5 really good runs with Aegon, okay? So I would have got about a combo of about 120-ish, and then stopped using Aegon at Doom, and then I would have probably used Magneto just to kill Doom, okay? That would have saved me some revives there, okay? Terrax, my strategy with Terrax using magic wasn't bad. You just really had to get into the swing of things, okay? At first, you know, this is partly obviously doing my research of characters' abilities as well. I haven't really used Terrax, and I don't really know how he works. So when I first started, I wasn't really familiar with what was making his rock slide go on for so long. Once I got that down, I realized I needed to be, you know, instead of like keeping my distance from him, just be very aggressive and like don't really give that much of a gap between myself and him, okay? Once I kind of got that down to a T, it wasn't too bad, all right? So that's something that I found with the Terrax fight when I used magic anyway. Terrax is definitely a fight that I would have used potions to heal up for, because they're going to be taking the damage from the rock slide if you're using magic like I did. For Dr. Doom, I mean, I would have used potions a little bit on Aegon, but again, like you can do 1 or 2, you can do like maybe 2 runs with Aegon and get that 100+ combo if you got a Sig 200 one. And then yeah, just use Magneto to just absolutely shred him, okay? So then for Vision, I would have taken this opportunity as, again, to using like maybe two revives, if that, on trying to ramp up Aegon again. You could probably get between a 50 to a 60 combo. And what I would do with Aegon as well, this is a tip that a few guys gave me in chat, is because obviously Vision's going to cycle through his special, so he's going to use special 1 and special 2 and special 3. What I would do is try and ramp up, but when you're on the cycle where he's going to use his SP3, make sure you've got your SP3, and then what you can do is you can then use your SP3 when he gets to his SP3, then you're going to stun him, and it allows you to get a few more hits in, okay? So if you do not have the Proxima or Star-Lord synergy with Aegon, please remember, man, to quit out the fight instead of taking a hit, okay? Because I think a few people got worried that I was taking hits and not banking my combo, but because I knew that I had the synergy there, it wasn't too bad, okay? When I'm taking an SP3 and I knew I was gonna die, okay? So yeah, I would probably use about 2 revives on Vision for Aegon, and then just kill him with Magneto, okay? So that's what I would do for the Vision fight. For MODOK, who did I use for? I think I used... Okay, so I just had a quick check, and I used Aegon for MODOK, okay? Now, as long as I believe the combo was above 150. Let me just double check it now. I don't want to give you guys the incorrect information. But I believe as long as the... Okay, there you go. So critical hits grant 0.75 seconds of true accuracy, allowing them to ignore auto block and evade and all evade effects, okay? This stacks up 3 times. So it was key to try and build Aegon up between Doom and Vision, so that by the time I got to MODOK, I had over 150 combo banked, so that I could use Aegon as a counter in the MODOK and Spider-Ham fights, but I could also still build Aegon's combo, okay? So that was the main aim for getting to MODOK and Spider-Ham, and I was able to do that well, okay? So so for MODOK and Spider-Ham, I used Aegon. Wasn't really much, to be fair, just, you know, make the most of the block damage that you're gonna deal, you know, just try and trap him in the corner. Spider-Ham can be a little bit tricky, but you just kind of want to watch out for his power gain, because he does gain power really quickly when you're hitting him. So you just want to make sure you hit into the block as much as you can, and you just be wary that when you do get him to his SP1, just be careful how many times you hit him after that, okay? And do be wary of the evade as well, all right? So yeah, so those two fights were fairly simple, okay? Now moving on to path number 2, again, Weapon X, man. At first I went in here with Archangel, and we had a tactical death because I wanted to back out to use Aegon to build up his combo, of course. So yeah, we used Weapon X to build up the Aegon combo more, which was really good in this fight, to be honest with you. Straightforward fight, you just gotta watch out for the unblockable and unstoppable. But once again, if you want to make the most of like hitting into block, just be careful, just be watch out, because I did get caught out a couple of times from the unstoppable, so just be a bit careful in regards to that. But it's a straightforward fight. None of these fights I would say like you need to really heal up in a lot, really, apart from like Terex is the main one so far that you want to make sure you fully heal up your health. What else do we have? So we got Thing. Thing wasn't bad at all. I used Aegon for Thing. Thing wasn't bad. It was a straightforward fight. If you know how to fight Thing already, that fight was pretty straightforward, to be honest with you. Now Korg. The Korg fight with Proxima it worked fine. You know, I was able to just parry 3 light hits with Proxima, parry 3 light hits with Proxima while he was stunned, and all I had to worry about was the damage from the rocks. But by parrying and using the light attacks, by the time we took the rocks down and was waiting for the buff to come back up, we literally was able to then obviously hit him as usual when he was stunned. That's the big, because of this Mixed Master node, that is the key here, okay? Because I couldn't just hit him with normal combos, so I literally just found it safer to just hit him while he was stunned, okay? So the strategy, if you guys have not seen the strategy for the Proxima takedown, you can watch the very last one that I did on my stream. But massive shout out to, let me just find who it was, massive shout out to Barrowman, because the link I originally saw when I saw this actual fight, massive shout out to my boy Jacob. He sent me the link to Barrowman's channel, and I saw his takedown with Proxima when he took down Korg, okay? So you know, if you want to see it live, you can either watch Barrowman's video or you can go to my live stream and watch how I did it. I'm not the best Proxima player, so the fact that I'm not the best Proxima player and I was able to do it just goes to show, like, you know, if you study enough and you practice enough, you're focusing enough, you can do it, okay? So next up we had Dragon Man, and I use Magneto for Dragon Man. Yo, this fight could be very intimidating, man, because Dragon Man, that guy, he don't give you no space, man. He had me up in the corner so much. So yeah, it could be a little bit difficult. I did use a mutant boost, I believe, in this fight, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I thought that this might be a point where I actually got stuck, but it wasn't. So yeah, it definitely wasn't that bad, surprisingly. So yeah, I just need to watch out for the power gain really on that fight. But once we kind of got into the swing of things with that fight, it was fine. Next up we had Black Panther. I believe I used Archangel for Black Panther, actually. I think I used Archangel. I think I was planning to do a few tries with Aegon, but I think I used Archangel, man, and he wasn't bad. You just, like my boy Ghost Dog says, you just need to know how to dance and move your feet in that fight, okay? So that fight wasn't bad at all. Next up we have Nightcrawler. The Nightcrawler fight wasn't bad at all. I mean, I didn't need to when I was using Aegon. I did use Aegon to help build the combo meter again, but I literally just changed his style at the beginning of the fight, and then he couldn't evade anyway, so it was a very straightforward fight. Spider-Gwen, yo, make sure you read this node, guys, alright? No parrying, alright? No parrying, okay? Yeah, your boy didn't read that node and I got smoked straight away. So yeah, no parrying, but Aegon absolutely shredded that fight for me. Domino, again, I used Aegon. This fight, this was a fight that I healed up for, just because of you're gonna take damage from her critical thing anyway. It's unavoidable damage. So I healed up in this fight, but it was a fairly straightforward fight. I think I used about 2 or 3 revives. I think, I could be wrong, but it was a fairly straightforward fight. Mojo, not so much. Mojo was a little bit Now the thing with the Mojo fight, because I tried to use several different characters in a Mojo fight, and ideally you want to use a character that you can get Mojo down in as soon as possible, okay? Now, because the more persistent charges he has every time he whoops your butt, the more difficult the fight is going to be, okay? Now, one thing I regret is not continuing to use Magneto. So I started using Magneto, but I regret just not reviving Magneto and going back in again. I tried various different runs where I used various different champions within my team, and then I went back to Magneto in the end, and Magneto got the job done for me. So I would have saved myself a bunch of revives if I just stuck to Mags. Okay, so that's if I'm giving you like any advice for the Mojo fight, if you're bringing Magneto as a counter, I would just use Magneto. Okay, and then we got Abomination. I just used Aegon for that. Aegon was shrugging everything off, so it was all fine. Next up we got Apocalypse, man. Now I used again Apocalypse. I was just trying to get up Aegon's combo. I think I did attempt to use Magneto for this fight, but when I was gonna use Magneto, I'd done it after he'd gained some charges, so it was kind of pointless. So if you are gonna use Magneto for this fight, I'd advise you to use Magneto first, if you want to try and go in for a solo or whatnot. But yeah, if not, then just stick to Aegon, man. I done it with Aegon. It wasn't bad at all. Now Sasquatch is someone I done with Aegon. I didn't find the Sasquatch nowhere near as difficult as I thought it was gonna be, based on what I'd heard from people. I just got him down to like 25% health, I think it was, with Aegon, and then I went in with Archangel, and we got a little bit lucky. So yeah, man, that's what I did. It worked well for me. So a lot of you guys should have Aegon. A lot of you guys should have or whatever your damage dealer is, and then use an Archangel to finish him off if you have Archangel within your team. Okay, now Killmonger, I think the majority of the damage for me against Killmonger was Aegon. I believe. Yeah, I think Aegon was a damage dealer. Killmonger's a fight that I would probably want to heal up for, because you're gonna take slight damage from the reverberation. Okay, so that's definitely a fight that I would have healed up for. Void was a very straightforward fight with Aegon, man. I can't even lie. Yeah, Aegon shredded that, man. Same thing with Nick Fury, man. I thought I was gonna struggle. Normally I struggle a little bit with Nick Fury. Aegon smashed through that. At this point, I believe Aegon was at 999 combo, so yeah, he was just like, they were trying to run from me. They were trying to evade me. You feel me? So it was really good. And then the boss, man, the boss was pretty. You know what? It was so relieving knowing that I'd finished all the paths and all I had to do was fight the boss, because the boss really wasn't that difficult. I think I maybe used 2 or maybe 3 revives, maybe. On the boss. My boss really wasn't that difficult. So yeah, all in all, it was a really good run. I thought it was going to take me sort of 5 hours plus, but I think we've done it in under 4 hours, just under 4 hours. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, especially considering the amount of time that I spent at the beginning trying to build up Aegon on Doom. That took a chunk of time as well. So it definitely wasn't bad. So yeah, obviously that was my experience. There are plenty different counters that you can use to so many different fights. Like, my advice will be do what I did. You know, take some advice from friends or alliance members on a call in Discord or line chat, and just tell them that you're planning to do a run. Sit down, go through your roster, see what is the best for your main damage dealer, then like for certain fights, and then just, yeah, plan your run like that. You know, it's not as difficult as kind of like it sounds like it is, but everyone says like, oh, they wish they could have farmed more pots, and I understand why they say that, you know, because I used about 3,700-ish units, but that was units that I used on revives and potions. Okay, and had I have done a lot more farming for potions, that could have dropped my my unit usage a lot more, you know. So that's definitely something. Don't underestimate farming potions and using them in the right fights, okay? Because it's not every fight that you need to use potions for, okay? So I hope that helped you, man. And if you are planning to do a run before it expires, then best of luck to you. And if you've done your run already, let me know what you got in your rewards. Best of luck to you all. Thank you all so much for those of you that came through and was watching the live stream. And if you haven't seen the rewards, then make sure you go and check out the rewards, okay? But that's gonna be it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care for now, and I'll catch you in the next video, man. Take care. Peace.